everyone, this is Sophia from the YouTube channel Animal Abuse Behind Closed Cages. It's so good to see you all again. Also, I don't know about you guys, but it's really hot where I am right now, so you might hear some air conditioning in the background. I'm sorry about that. In this video, I'm going to talk about things a lot of people do that harm animals, and they didn't even know it. And most people do these things on a daily or at least weekly basis. I think if there was more education about these sort of things, they wouldn't happen as much. Most of these are things that affect the environment, and as a result they affect animals, and most of the time can even kill them. So without further ado, I'll start talking about those things. The first thing that can really harm animals is using fertilizer. Now you're probably like, why the heck does fertilizer harm animals? But the thing is that when people use fertilizer on their lawns or anywhere else really, the fertilizer goes into the lakes and then it spreads the invasive species that live in the lakes, which makes it so that animals can no longer live in the lakes. This is really easy to solve. You just don't use fertilizer. It's very simple. Please think about this and don't use fertilizer. Honestly, what you can do if you want a good lawn is to just water your lawn in place of using fertilizer. I speak from experience, it will produce the same results. The second thing you do that harms animals is throwing away plastic water bottles and water jugs. A lot of people think that those things are not recyclable, when in reality they actually are recyclable. So please recycle them. Or you can use tap water so that you don't have to use plastic bottles at all, which is the best option. If you have a plastic bottle or water jug and there isn't a recycling can available at the moment, simply just hold on to the water bottle until there is a recycling can available. You can put it into your purse and wait until you get home. Throwing away plastic water bottles and water jugs harm animals because they end up in the ocean, and they take a very long time to decompose. Then the animals mistake them for food and try to eat them, which can harm and kill them. According to a Forbes magazine article from 2017, the world uses 1 million water bottles every single minute, and 91% are not recycled. Another thing you do that destroys animals is using pesticides. Now this is a pretty well-known one, but people still continue to use pesticides. When you use pesticides, pollinators such as bees, certain types of birds, and butterflies ingest the pesticides. Then it causes them to die. Without pollinators, we wouldn't have a lot of the things we have now, like fruit and even chocolate. And seriously, can you imagine living in a world without chocolate? It would suck. Chocolate is life. Anyways, use this URL for more pesticide information and alternatives to pesticides. I will also put this link in the description. The next thing that so many people do that harms animals is feeding ducks bread and other food that is harmful to them. I remember when I first found this out, I was like, oh my gosh, what is life? I grew up feeding ducks bread all the time. I never knew it was bad for them. Now I know better. The reason that bread is bad for ducks is because it has very low nutritional value and it has low carbohydrates, especially white bread. So the ducks gain too much weight, and also they can get this thing called angel wing or airplane wing, and it stops them from flying, which obviously seriously can harm them and kill them. However, there are plenty of other things you can feed ducks, swans, and geese. Here is a list of what should and should not be fed to them. Remember that the babies should be fed very diced food or very soft foods. Another thing you do that harms animals is using straws. Straws are very pointless because you can just drink out of the glass. You don't even need a straw. And there aren't any programs that recycle straws. That way, just like the water bottles, straws end up in the ocean, where animals mistake them for food. And obviously, animals can't digest plastic. You can simply ask a restaurant not to give you a straw, and at home you shouldn't use straws. Thank you. The last thing I'm going to talk about that a lot of people do that harms animals is a lot closer to home. Literally. So many people still don't even feed their pets the right amount of times per day. Both cats and dogs should be fed twice a day. If you feed your cat or dog less than twice a day, then they will be hungry and they will not get enough nutrition. If you feed them more than twice a day, then they will be overweight and it will be harder for them to move. I know that my cats whine to have food all of the time, literally all of the time. But you still should only feed them twice a day, even if they're meowing and acting like they're hungry.
Here's a summary of the things I talked about in this video. The things people do all the time that harm animals are using fertilizer, throwing away plastic water bottles and jugs instead of recycling them or using tap water, using pesticides, feeding ducks bread instead of, for example, cabbage, using straws at restaurants, at home, or in any other place, and feeding your cat or dog more than twice a day or less than twice a day. Make sure to post in the comments how many of these things you do. Your feedback really helps us make our videos better and better.